It wraps its prodigious limbs around my chest, pulls inwards, suffocating me, buries its extremities beneath my ribcage, defeating the shield to restrict blood flow through my arteries. The invisible beast hangs dormant on my shoulders, awaiting one uneasy breath to convince me I feel smothered. Tears roll effortlessly. Abuse at my own hands, mirroring the way he used to stifle me. The numbness is a relief. Otherwise this would hurt. If it was attention I wanted, there are easier ways than this all-consuming threat brainwashing me to be an introvert. I long to speak of other thoughts, except positivity is swallowed by trepidation. I long to tell you of the battle I've just fought, but right now panic is my only obligation. Thank you. Say hi properly now. I didn't plan on doing that, but I thought it would wake me up and sat down there. So that was about panic attacks that became very well known to me a little while ago. And this is also about that, so I wrote this at the beginning of a long mental breakdown. This is called Unorthodox. Another day, and it's already been said, how does it work when I get out of this bed? The antiquated taunt of how bad it's become, overshadowing a fight for a battle that was once won. He knows me so well. Do you fancy a brew? He says as he switches over to rhythm and blues. A comfort like no other. How very English of me to find solace in one mug, in one cup of tea. The music washes over me. My eyelids drop slightly, swaying left to right. I let out an almighty click of my fingers, my eyes are closed, quick snap back to the room before I believe my mind's trick. He's dancing in and carrying a tune alongside the beverage made to improve my mood. Stewed to the colour his mum had once said, the colour of that wardrobe, son. It was ingrained in his head. The thanks was not lacking. It just wouldn't come out. Even that comfort this time couldn't fight the creeping in of doubt. I listen, but I don't hear. I look, but I don't see. That's a lie. I hear fear. That's a lie. I see debris left from all the times that this has happened before. I can't, if I could, I would run for the door. She says there's a reason for everything and it's all going to be grand, but babe, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in God's plan. I'm fading away, soon my expression will be deadpan, thrashing and kicking and scratching like a madman. It's not life-threatening. You're okay. It's going to pass. Let's take some breaths. Name 5 colours. How about a glass of water this time, because that tea just didn't suffice. Not offended, I guess, sweetheart, but sort out your life. It's a joke, and I know it. Recognition of words. How exciting to feel something other than shaking and nerves coming back down to earth with a whack. I'm tired, but that smile, and it's good to have you back. It will get better. Positivity is key. Paramount importance for me to be free, for me to be well again, for me to be me. Thank you. I keep turning my head all the way around the turn. This next poem has a pretty real content warning of sexual violence, and it is supposed to make you uncomfortable because sexual violence should never make you feel comfortable. However, it does have a bigger message, so hopefully that comes across. This is called I Love You. I would set the scene, but my body's defence mechanisms have almost wiped that clean. I couldn't tell you where we'd been, only that I was 16 and what ensued was unforeseen, at least to me, but he was a well-oiled machine. It's dark. Exhaust fumes burn the air and the car is in park. I'm unaware he's about to leave his first mark. The warning lights weren't on, so how was I meant to know there was about to be a problem, let alone a big one? To me, the fact a guy showed any interest was a phenomenon. He didn't care about me. How I took my tea, that my least favourite soup was minestrone, whether I enjoyed swimming in the sea or any information about my family tree. He didn't care what I wanted to be, that I had aspirations and dreams, or even how my day at school had been. He only cared what he could get for free as he fumbled around with the buttons on his jeans. It wasn't locked. I could have got out and ran or let out a shout, but I sat and barely entertained my doubt because it was too early to cause a fallout. It didn't matter if to my religion I was devout, because he knew it wasn't within my character to act out, and that it wasn't something that I was going to talk about. Maybe why I didn't move was because who would do anything that bad outside the house containing my mum and dad? 3 older brothers with every reason to get mad, if only my thoughts had clocked the ones he had. But to have attention from an older lad until this moment had made me glad, the one whose name I doodled in hearts in my yellow sketch pad. And now, you're not leaving until I'm finished, he said, as he gripped his left hand around the back of my head. I wanted to be magically in my bed, alone. Maybe it was my actions he had misread. Or maybe I was a young girl that he had misled. Now the warning lights were burning my eyelids in blood red. This was nothing like the romance stories as a child I'd been read. It wouldn't have mattered how carefully I'd tread, because he'd already planned this out in his head. I should have bit it there and then. Taken one for the team for any future girls or women. But my whole teenage body fell weak. There was no room for me to speak. Maybe words would have invited unwelcome critique. Already convinced I was some sort of freak, the last thing I needed were comments on technique. Or the opposite, some bullshit about how I was special or unique. The silence I'd believed to be a part of his mystique was masking a mentality petrifyingly bleak. So I convinced myself this is what women deserve and what all men seek, as he thrusted bruises onto the insides of my cheeks. You're not leaving until I'm finished, he repeats. I didn't care that I couldn't breathe. By now, passing out would have been a relief, to put a halt on my childhood being taken by a thief, to delay the onset of the inevitable grief. The burning exhaust fumes imitate my burning desire to be anywhere else but here. I choke on my fear as my mind kicks in to interfere with thoughts of how I'll finish this academic year with a future that's about to become very unclear. I swallow my shame, the taste of blame drains the colour from my face. No signs of an embrace, only a hurried exit just in case anyone caught me in all my disgrace. Clutching the cross on my neck, I hurried to the place I called home. Game face as I steadied my tone. Mom? Dad? I'm home. I'm going to bed. Alone. Days passed with me wearing a mask, constantly harassed with messages to keep quiet, but that part wasn't much of a task. The more he kept to check the tight of the new Scott around my neck, the more I realised what he did was wrong. My crippled personality struggled to belong, with thoughts of it repeating like an overplayed song. To ask for help, I knew I had to be strong. I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them because they'll understand. Because they'll believe me when I say it was his command and that he emotionlessly forced my hand. But what if they make me take a stand? I'm going to tell them. Because they'll know what to do. They always do. Because they'll stop it before it escalates to something more taboo. Because they will help me to start anew, and because then they'll understand why the last time they went in for a hug I involuntarily withdrew. Because they'll believe what I'm telling them is true. Because Mom will comfort me with her winter stew whilst Dad does his best to undo this warped view that all men will act this way too. I'm going to. Mom, Dad, I love you. Thank you. on my last poem, which is a little bit long, so distracting. I would like to say, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Clive and Nick, because I don't think they quite understand what this means to me after the last year. So yeah, this is huge for me. And also, if anything I've spoken about today has left you at a loose end, please just come and talk to me, it's not a problem. So this last poem, this is my version of leaving you on a high. Anyone ever been in love? Don't be shy. Cool, you're going to lap this up. Causing domestics. Writing through the pain. As my tears, they touch the page. They blur the ink like the line between friendship and fate. But it's worth it because you've probably felt the same. Have you? Have you ever loved someone who makes you enjoy dwelling in the rain? Someone who every time your phone screen lights up you want to see their name? Someone who leaves you lost for words, when usually words are your forte. Someone who you trust so disorientedly you want to get lost with them over and over again. Someone who, to see that smile that makes you brace yourself, you would gently brush away all of their pain. Someone who makes you want to expand on the capacity and the knowledge of your brain. Someone who you know deep down will never love you the same. He makes me feel like I'm his when he speaks my name. But it could just be the way I'm hearing it. He isn't to blame, let's face it. He probably does say every other person's name with the same voice. I forgive any of his actions to keep on the receiving end of his reactions. I replace other people's time for his interaction because he's a profound distraction. I try focusing on a positive outcome to encourage the law of attraction, but it's infiltrated with negativity as I convince myself I am not to his satisfaction. I am painfully conscious of my every move and every stereotypical overreaction. Being good enough for yourself, I like to think that that can be taught. Being good enough for someone else is not a battle that should ever be fought, but if he asked me to be his bag for life, I would. I'd hold his baggage and he'd use me over and over again because love hurts this good. I cheat myself out of my own time and energy. I remember when it was 6 p.m. and sleeping was a future gift, and now it's 3 a.m. and I'm wondering who unwrapped it and threw it into the pile of unwanted shit. I've spent hours replaying our last encounter and analysing every bit, questioning whether life's getting me back for the people I've hurt because I wasn't ready to commit. I'm shuffling through my moonlit thoughts, filing them in the appropriate places, but running out of room for them all to fit. This is so much more than logic and nowhere near common sense. I feel like the only thing that would help me sleep is the comfort of his natural scent. Fast forward to the weekend, and I'm hanging out with my friend. The soundtrack to our evening is Arctic Monkeys' Mardy Bum because he says I've got a face on. I'm wishing it was I Want to Be Yours and that he was serenading me with some kind of light-hearted lure, but I know the most appropriate tune would be Snap Out of It, because if someone doesn't grab my shoulders and shake, I'm never going to quit. I might be putting one and one together and coming up with 11, but I'll take it if the answer means we're side by side. I'm not shy. But he's making me question whether these are emotions that I should hide. He makes me feel like without him I would die, but when I'm with him, like I've never felt so alive. How will we want strangers when before him I can't remember my life, and the thought of a future without him makes my depression do a nosedive. I watch films I would never watch and don't pay any attention, then pray he doesn't lose the storyline and ask me a question. He'll clock the lead and exclaim, "She's fit," and although I probably agree, I'm just wishing he'd said it about me. I try and persuade persuade myself when he makes fun it's the equivalent of him pulling my hair in the playground, when really it's because we're mates. I'm one of the lads and he thinks I'm well sound. The heat of his quick wit is blushing my cheeks, and I know I'm gonna dwell on my dumb response for weeks. I mean, he's open and he feels his feelings with me, but I guess that's because I'll share with anyone given a mic, a stage and some company. How can he complete me and I not complete him? When I thought of love I'd have seen red or pink, and now the colour of his eyes seeps in. He is the flame and I am the wax. The brighter he burns I just melt against the glass. If we can sing like losers at the top of our lungs on the first car ride, how is this not already a work of art and a one I find? I have never been into astrology, but I am reading both our star signs, only believing it when it sounds like our stars are perfectly aligned. When the pain hits, it's like the borrowers have snuck into my chest and they're pulling at different sides of my heart, causing distress, each giving different instructions from within of what I should do. He's not worth it. You're gonna get hurt. He probably feels the same as you. Am I in love? Or am I in love with the idea of being in love with him when really I just want to rip off his clothes with lust, but I don't want to be labelled a slut, so I'm using love as a pseudonym. I look at him. He's already looking at me. He looks away. I try, but my eyes fixate. The background noise whittles down to only the beating of my heart, and I can feel it's beating in time to his, even if he can't. The borrowers are shrieking that giving it back to the rightful tenant and evicting him is smart, but how can a connection between two only be felt on one part? The only thing in focus is him. And questions of, was it a coincidence, or did he mean to look too? Can he sense that my eyes haven't yet moved? Everything is still. Everything except my butterflies giggling over the prospect of romance, over the prospect of him being the one that doesn't screw me over at the first chance, over that look being more than just a well-timed glance. I've never felt peace like I have in his eyes, and now I'm in a trance. His eyes drew in my heart in pencil, and rather than seeing it as temporary, I thought I saw potential. My girlfriends will say it's his loss, but I know it's mine, because if he could see what he was doing to my heart and my mind, he wouldn't think it was fine. He would think he'd crossed a line and he'd say, I'm sorry, I should have read the signs. The emotion comes in waves, and like a wave to the shore, he washed over me unconsciously, shifting pieces of me to suit him until I didn't recognise me anymore. My heart is sweating from all its hard work. The borrowers are singing under the shower to REM, Everybody Hurts. I want to cry, but then he'll ask why, and I'll have to lie and say I'm hormonal, it's just that time. And then he'll comfort me with his skin on mine, and I'll lose more control than when I caught his eye. I usually wear my heart on my sleeve as though unblemished and brand new, but recently I rolled them up from the last time it broke in two. I'm willing him to come over to help me unravel them, spread warmth over my goosebump skin and make me risk feelings of yes. But he isn't him. How do I feel safe with him when I've given him the ability to hurt me more than anything? Discovering him was like discovering a whole new language, an unspoken one, and not one I could teach to anyone else, not even him, not even after this long. He is the sun and I am a shadow. That is to say, to him I unintentionally belong. I sing those car ride songs in the shower like a fool, and I rehearse our conversations to the door frame because it has a bit more substance than a flat wall. How can an elbow or a fingernail be perfect and a person be the perfect amount of tall? And although the way he dresses isn't to everybody's taste, I think his fashion no sense is pretty cool. Me pretending to act naturally has got me looking like a real oxymoron. So has trying to articulate something that can only be felt, but I can't stop going on. I'll worry when we're not talking in case he's talking to someone else, for one, and for two, because I need to know he's safe. I can't stand the thought of him suddenly being gone, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm putting all my eggs in his basket so that when he takes it to the checkout, my heart can be spent. And I'm asking for a refund, even though I'm not the one with the receipt and the purchase was made with my consent. I dared to dream of something that I would never wake up to, but love doesn't know boundaries of waiting until it's reciprocated. It just seizes you. Why would he want me if when he looks at me he sees himself? Because he is all I believe I am now, and he already loves him. He doesn't need me to show him how. When you get feelings like this, you agree to lose all grip on reality, hoping they catch you before you slip and fall. I want to learn about him every day and be allowed to explore, but I gave so much of me straight away. He doesn't need to know more. I don't know my heart anymore. I only know ours, and although we've only been in the same room for the last 20 minutes, all these thoughts racing round have made it seem like hours. My butterflies begin to morph back into caterpillars, and maybe the unavoidable heartbreak is worth it when I feel more love looking in the mirror. The borrowers are digging a grave in my heart to bury the ideal of us before I have the chance to become bitter. It takes a while to heal when you put your heart on the line and someone crosses it. I'm grateful he's pushed me to be so much more than I already was, and on many occasions been the reason I didn't quit. But now I want to be what he is to me to someone else. And that is a lot to ask. He was never mine. It's time for me to reluctantly take a step back. And still, I'm looking at him. He looks at me. I look away. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, another huge